I think for me, I don't like to do I do outlining, and I like to use index cards because they're tangible, and I put them up on a wall and I can move them around. Like if you have, let's say, a scene in your head, you have if they're not connected, what I like about index cards is that I can write on the index cards and I put it up on my wall and I can move it around. Some people do lots of, they can do a grid, you can do, whatever, is your particular thing. I like index cards. I don't like to take those index cards and write them down again because I have a real issue with writing something twice. So if I take the time to actually write a long outline or treatment, I feel like I've done it already. So when it comes time to writing it, I feel like all the creativity I have, I've lost it because I spent all this time working on this other document. So I personally, when I first started, I did it more, but now I don't. Like I generally just go from the cards to the actual writing. What are your guys' processes?
For me, it varies depending on the project and whether it's work for hire or creator owned. Like for DC, for example, there's very much an outline process that you have to go through on the book. So I tend to outline regardless, but I don't outline very tightly usually. Actually, the thing I really like about writing comics is that a 5-issue arc or a 6-issue arc. Like I see this a lot with like Batman Beyond right now, for example. 5 issues of Batman Beyond is basically a feature worth of material for me, but doesn't feel as daunting because I know what the story is. I may not have it all super tight down to the page or anything like that because I think that there's very much a thing of over outlining, but I'm basically writing a sequence every week and a half, and then it's and then you polish it and that goes to the print, and so before you know it, you've written this whole story that would have felt daunting to just tackle all at once, but because you're getting feedback and seeing pages come in and everything, like it kind of inspires you, and sometimes the story goes in a different direction based on an artist's strengths or weaknesses or what they want to draw. I tell a funny story about Deathstroke where I knew what the first issue was locked, I knew what the second issue was, and I kind of knew what the general arc was going to be, but then Joe Bennett started messaging me on Facebook, and I asked him, Joe, if there's ever anything you want to draw, please let me know. He wrote back, he said, I want to draw submarines. And I said, okay, and he said, like Hunt for Red October, just a massive submarine. And he's like, I said, okay, well, a lot of this takes place in Detroit. So I'm not sure. I mean, I guess there could be a museum for like an Atia-class submarine, sure. And so it turned into this big set piece, and Joe was so excited that the amount of detail that he put in these pages was amazing. Just massive, like the bad guy picks up a submarine and just like smashes Deathstroke with it. And then that turned into the fallout for like another issue or two, and it totally changed the direction of the story. But I knew what my ending was going to be, and I knew what I needed to get to, so a lot of that was malleable.